Welcome to the Chronically Awesome podcast with me, Katie Rose, recording my thoughts and realizations about the mind, the body, and all things woo-woo, looking at life through the lens of spirituality, and sharing things I believe should be taught to everyone so we can begin to heal the next generations, healing traumas, transcending the ego, and living an empowered, soul-led life of pure awesomeness. So welcome back to my podcast. It's been a very up and down year last year. Beginning of the year, I was like, right, I'm going to get back into doing my podcast episodes. I'm going to be amazing. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And we are now in May. So you can see how well that's been going. So yeah, last year was a hard one. It was very up and down in what I was experiencing sort of emotionally. If you've listened to some of my other episodes, you will know I've been writing a book, a memoir, a sort of self-help book for those who suffer with chronic illness like I did. And it's been a lot. It's been a journey. It has been a hell of a journey. It has been very cathartic. It has. It's been great in some ways. It's been deeply healing, but in other ways, let me tell you, it's not been fun. It has been having to face things that I didn't want to face. There were things, emotions that I had not known were being held in my body. There was a lot going on that I needed to kind of face that I have been avoiding for a long time. So it was challenging. It really was. And what I found, I got to share this with you because this shocked me. It really did. And I don't know if I shared this in the last episode, but I'm going to share it again. So what I found was that the voice in my head during this phase of depression that I went through last year was so much louder than any other time experiencing it while I had a chronic illness. I was like, what? And the reason for that is because when I had a chronic illness, there was this constant sort of buzz. That voice that tells me that I'm not good enough, that I'm a burden, that this is it for forever, this is all you're ever going to get. All those things were just a constant background noise. It was just always there. It's almost like being underwater, just a constant buzzing in the background. However, what I found was once all my symptoms went and then that voice started appearing, it was so much louder. It wasn't in the background anymore. It was like a fucking megaphone shouting at me and will you fucking hear me? You shit. And that is so much harder to deal with than it being a constant like humming in the background. And I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't have the tools and techniques to be able to actually cope with it being so loud. My tools and techniques dealt with it being in that background, being that little hum, occasionally popping up with a week or a month where it was a bit more aggressive. But this was like just a constant for the whole year, if not probably more than that really, if I really looked into it of when it actually started. But it basically all came about because I've been doing the book. Obviously, I'm bringing things up. I'm healing parts that I didn't know I hadn't healed. There's always new things that you learn. You're like, oh, there's a coping mechanism. I see how that happens now. And all these little things. But it got so hard. And to the point where I actually had to tell my husband, which I know is in the last episode, where I actually told my husband I am not doing okay. And I say last episode, I don't even know what my last episode is, but it's in an episode where I talk about really going through like the really dark, really hard time. And it was after I spoke to my husband that it was like I let it out and I was like, oh, okay. Now I voiced it. Now it's not just me dealing with this. It was like I opened a door and I could see things a lot more clearly, and I could see I needed help. I needed more than what I could give myself at that time. So I actually went to the doctors in the end, and for the first time in like 13 years I went on antidepressants because it was like it's like a blanket, like everything just stopped. I couldn't function. I was functioning, I was going to work and I always felt better after being in work, but when I came home, then it just like all came back down, and it was like it felt like I had no control. So by being on the antidepressants, I found I gained a lot more control over my emotions, because what was happening, because I think there's also a link with my hormones as well, because, you know, fun. And what was happening was that it was like 3 weeks where I was like in so much emotional distress, and having only a week where you feel all right, and then going through another 3 weeks where you feel like absolute shit and crying all the time. Like I cried so much, and I went to the doctors. I sat there and I started crying immediately, and I was like, I need you to help me fix all of this. Like I can't do it anymore. And it helped me gain back control. It helped me to then decide, what is it that I can do for myself now that I feel like I have the ability to do that. So, and I think when it comes to like holistic healing and being more spiritual and all that side of stuff, people tend to have this sort of idea of you shouldn't take any meds. Like you can fix it all yourself, you can do it all yourself, you can self-heal. And I believe in all those things, as in like you can self-heal and you can definitely put in the work and work on yourself. But sometimes you just need a little help to get started, to start putting things in place, to come from a place where you feel safe, because you're not gonna be able to do anything if your nervous system isn't feeling safe. So you could be doing all the practices, all the tools, all the techniques, but if you're not feeling safe in yourself and feel like you have some control, nothing's actually going to change, because those things are still there. Your nervous system is still fighting to survive, and until it feels like, okay, we are safe, we can do this, nothing's really going to change. So having the antidepressants for me really helped in that way. And then I've been coming off them the last month or so, and the book is coming. Here's another thing I need to tell you. Okay, there's been so much going on. My book is coming out on the 19th of July. I know, how crazy. Chronically awesome. We've got the podcast, I'm gonna have the book. Like my excitement is just too much, honestly. And it will be available to pre-order as well as an ebook on the 5th of July, and it's just really exciting fucking shit right now. But it's also been stressful, and it's been bringing a lot of things up, and there's been things around the book that I've had to deal with as well, which has also caused some emotional stress. But at the same time, I've had a lot of moments where I'm like, fucking hell, Katie, well done you. Well done. You have done fucking brilliant to have been able to feel that, process it, and not attach to it, and then let it go. But obviously there's still some times where little bits still linger in the background. There's a bit of that, again, that background buzz going on. So it hasn't been the easiest journey coming off of the antidepressants, while all of a sudden I had this sort of like emotional stress that I had to kind of face and deal with and process. So, you know, wouldn't be life if we didn't have these entertaining moments of chaos. But I'm in this place where I know now when things aren't going right. I know how to listen to my body, and I knew these things before, but because when the voice was so loud, I didn't know how to listen to those things while I had that. But now I've had that experience, and I've learned from it, and I've got some new sort of tools and techniques to help me with these things. I now know how to move forward in this way, in a healed way, not in a chronic illness way. So before, when I was dealing with it, I had my things that worked while I was still suffering with the symptoms. But now I have the ability and the tools and the knowledge to be able to work from a place of, I have no symptoms, but I can, when these things happen, when challenges come up, when obstacles are thrown at you, then I know how to deal with it from that point now. So I like to share these things, because I think sometimes people think, oh, she has no symptoms now, she has no problems. Mate, it's life, we all have fucking problems. But how we deal with them is based on how we are able to regulate our emotions, notice when things aren't right, notice when our body is like, please fucking stop, slow down, and just listen to me. Because we are in a society where we are praised for pushing through, we are praised for doing more, being more, going, and fitting everything else in life, of being a mum and running a business and all these things. But you cannot live like that without hitting a wall, without breaking down, without burning out, all these different things that your body would have been screaming at you before this point. I know mine was, but but I wasn't listening. I had fear, I was afraid, I just didn't want to face things because I didn't know what it would be after. I didn't know if I was ready for the possibility of what could come out of it, and that just scared me too much to face things. So these are all these little things that I've been building up. And then also I was working a part-time job, and then I started working another part-time job as I was leaving the other one. So I had 2 part-time jobs going on. I was also running this business, and then we moved as well, which I love, and I love where I am now, but it was hard work to do all those things around Christmas. Around Christmas, coming into the new year, it was a lot to deal with and process and figure out what I wanted as well moving forwards, how I was going to fit everything in, finding my balance of being a mum, being a wife, running a business, and also working part-time and writing the book. It was too much really when you look back at it now, but when you're in it, you don't always notice it, and that's okay, because that's being human. But when your body starts screaming at you and your mind isn't in a place that feels joyful anymore, or it's in a place that feels absolutely stressed, and you're feeling extremely emotional and you're crying 3 weeks out of the 4 weeks of a month, you may want to look at things a little bit there. And I wish I'd looked sooner, but that is, the beauty of learning and growing up, is that you learn these things. And I will go through another phase at some point, I am sure, where I will avoid again, because it's the ego mind trying to protect me, saying that's not safe, don't go into that, because we don't know what's on the other side of that. And it's okay to be in those places, it's okay to feel all these things, but also you need to recognize that ego state of going, no, we're safe here, we'll stay in this pain, we'll stay in this suffering because it's what we know, rather than going, hang on, if we just kind of detach from this a moment, if we step out of ourselves and become the observer, and we look at it as if like we're not in it, and it was, say, a friend, you can do that's a great one. If you pretend that this is your friend's situation, and it sometimes helps you to kind of detach, to be able to look at it from a different perspective and say, well, how, if this was my friend, what advice would I give them, or how could I help them? What would it be that they need in that moment, and how can I give that then to myself? Because when you think of it as a friend, sometimes it's easier to show compassion than what it is to show yourself compassion. So that's one thing I think is a very useful thing to do when you feel too stuck in your head, to attach to everything, where everything just becomes a part of you, and you feel you are this, you are that, and you're everything else, to just become the observer and take that step back. So there's been a lot going on. So I wanted just to kind of come on and say hi again. I am still here. I'm working away in the background. The book is in the last phases now, so I'm really sort of putting things into place. So I'm also creating a free visualization for you guys as well, focusing on chronic illness and holding yourself just where you are, because we don't do that enough, to say it's okay to feel this pain, it's okay to feel like a burden, it's okay to have these thoughts and these feelings, it's okay to feel into my body rather than trying to detach from it, and holding yourself there. But then the meditation doesn't just leave you there, because that would be shit. It's just opening up a space to see the possibilities of what could be available to you if you start implementing just little things into your life. It can be as simple as just breathing. You can go back to that meditation time and time again. You don't have to move to do it. It's a great thing. You've all you got to do is press play. So it's not a hard thing to do, and it could be just something that you do that meditation every day for like a week or a month or whatever it is that you want before you even start doing anything else, because listening to the meditation itself is you taking a step, and that can be all it is for now. And if that is where you are, then that's where you are. And it's about holding compassion for yourself in that space and saying it's okay that all I can do right now is listen to a meditation. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I couldn't even do that at one point. So to be able to do that for yourself is a powerful place to be. And I celebrate you for press and play on that. I will put a link in the description below so that you can find that meditation for yourself and hopefully enjoy it. I recorded it outside, so it's like proper, like in a forestry and everything, so it's proper sort of nature vibes to it. So if you love a bit of nature and you can't necessarily get out for yourself, then you will find that vibe in this meditation for you. So I think I will just leave it here for now, just as a sort of, hi again, I am here. I'm going to start trying to do this sort of like every 2 weeks. If I can do it weekly, fucking brilliant. But I'm going to aim for every 2 weeks, just to come on, chat, share some things. You know, I love sharing the things that I realize as I go through them, or just random things that I have heard from somebody else that has got me thinking about something. And especially talking about trauma. Love a bit of trauma talk. It's my space. But also the spiritual side, and how sound healing especially has been a great thing for me, but the NLP, all the things that I just love. I love a space where I can just chat and share the things that I have found, share the things that I have loved, and things that I do for myself that you might want to try. All these different things that might just help you in your life somewhere to make it that little bit easier to get through the days if you're struggling. If I didn't have a bit of a crazy setup going on here right now, because I'm too scared to move because everything is balancing very delicately, I would pull a card and just kind of share some guidance for you guys on what I feel is needed, but I don't have them nearby, which is so unlike me. So instead, I am just gonna, first of all, right, the first thing that came to my mind there was the color blue, right? So this is how we're gonna process this. So this is how I work things sometimes. I love it. I love it. Just random things as they come and I share. I hope you enjoy them too. So I've got this color that is a light blue color. So to me, that representation of that blue is this sort of peacefulness, a tranquilness, which would link so perfectly actually to the meditation when you think about it. But I get this sort of feeling and this energy of, okay, I get the number 5 and number 7. Oh my God, I love sharing these things. This is how my mind works, okay, guys? So I get the number 5 and number 7. So number 5, I get this feeling and this sense of trying new things. It's that sort of being a bit adventurous. Sometimes it's about going against the grain. Sometimes it is about saying no to your mind because it might be telling you one thing, and going, I'm at the point where I want to try something different. So there's this beautiful energy in that way. I also connect 5 with like nature, it's gardening type of things. So if you maybe you've got some veg growing or anything like that, it's about just kind of getting out and getting your sort of hands in the mud, you know, that grounding sensation, and just being outside and just feeling fresh air, even if it's just sitting outside and nothing else. And then with the number 7, to me, that connects very deeply with a spiritual sense. This sort of connecting back to yourself, coming back to your body, this sense of home within you. And it's about the reconnection to your intuition, connecting into that space of who you really are, but learning to listen. You know, it's this sort of, it's awareness. It's building on the awareness of yourself, your body, because your body is communicating with you all the fucking time, but we're not taught to listen to our bodies. We're not taught like all these little sort of feelings and sensations are actually information being given to us. It is very, very intelligent, our body. We just don't seem to have the sort of the language to be able to process it a lot of the time. So this is something that is definitely about building on, and that is what I'm getting. So this is what I will be putting to you moving forwards from this episode, is to get outside, try something new. Meditation would be great, so I will definitely link that in the bottom for you if you want to give that one a go. But also to listen to yourself, feel your feelings, feel into the space of who you are, rather than the space of who everyone thinks you should be, or who you tried to be for everyone else in that pleasing scenarios. So that sort of fawn response where you are a people pleaser and you're living your life based on making sure everyone else is okay, and you adjust your own thoughts, feelings and beliefs to align with those people outside of yourself. Well, my message to you today is to come back into yourself so that you can rediscover what your actual thoughts are, your actual feelings and your actual beliefs. Because from there you can heal. There you can start building differently, instead of trying to align them to other people that do not align with yourself anymore. So that is my message for you. I hope it resonates. And I shall leave it here and hopefully see you next time.
Thank you for listening to this episode. I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I have. If you did, please share on social media, or if you'd like to share your thoughts with me directly, then you can message me at HopeLightUK on Instagram. And if you haven't done so already, hit the follow button to follow the podcast for more awesomeness, and I'll see you here next time.